In a move that shocked everyone, unless you've been following that Park Place, Robert Downey Jr. has decided to return, not playing Tony Stark, but instead playing maybe Tony Stark, but also Doctor Doom in the next Avengers movie. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is variant of Vash Guy, Mr. Vash Guy. Vash, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I don't know how my 616 version is doing, but I'm doing just fine.
Are we talking 616 or the 1999999 one that thinks it's 616? Because that's always been a trouble spot for me as a guy who follows the MCU. The MCU is not 616, except that the MCU thinks it's the primary universe here. It's so complicated. I just don't know what to do with myself. Now, let me ask you, were you following the Hall H social media coverage from this weekend?
Oh, I was following it just a little bit because, obviously Marvel usually always has a big presence in Hall H. And, following the, astounding success of Deadpool, I kind of wanted to see where the MCU was going to go. Obviously, one of the last times that they were in Hall H, it was all about the Kang Dynasty, and this is the direction that we're going to go. But, we've had a lot of news since then, and just didn't quite know how the MCU would look going forward.
Yep. It's a funny thing. Obviously, WDW Pro, good friend of the channel there, Mr. WDW Pro, to understate that relationship a little bit. He's been reporting that Robert Downey Jr. has been in talks to return to the MCU. And there were some details about that I personally have been privy to that were not for sharing. And I'll say the Doctor Doom thing, that was not on my list, but Pro is telling me that there is more to this reveal than meets the eye, but to tell it would be to spoil a movie that is still 2 years out. So we're not going to do that. But anyways, I don't want to be a trust me, bro. But if you have been following That Park Place, you've known that RDJ was already in talks to come back to the MCU. So, stay tuned here and stay tuned to thatparkplace.com and, of course, the WDW Pro channel if you want to be ahead of that particular aspect of the culture curve. Let's go to the reveal, though. We're going to, a lot of them are cutting straight to it, but I'm going to allow Marvel to have the theatricality that they deserve. Let's go to the video itself.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe.
Okay, first of all, I think he got dinged there by corporate and don't say multiverse, say universe. He said multi-universe. Also, this is Avengers Doomsday, which is replacing Kang Dynasty. For those of you who aren't following that entire situation, the man who was playing Kang got himself into a little bit of trouble by causing a little bit of trouble for his teeny tiny girlfriend that he did not treat well. And then he got convicted of that. So at that exact moment, they announced that they were getting rid of him, even though pretty apparent that Marvel knew for a while. So the reveal of the title Doomsday, that's new. And that is a big pivot from Kang Dynasty. They also fired the original writer of Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. His name was Michael Waldron. He was one of the Rick and Morty guys. Or maybe he just left of his own accord because they were going in a different direction. I'm not saying they're not working together in the future. Vash, you got something?
Yes. And also, too, Quantumania didn't do very well at the box office at all. So it was kind of at that point, the stakes had been lowered, I think, a little bit when it came to the switch here, because it was like, okay, well, if Quantumania didn't do all that well, if we have problems with the lead actor for our Kang Dynasty going forward, let's go ahead and change it up. I think that's kind of the thought process there. To set this up, also, too, you have a bunch of basically Doctor Dooms on stage, and this is being introduced by Joe and Anthony Russo, which we had reported here before on That Park Place that they were returning, and, well, that was confirmed by their appearance here, obviously.
Yep, absolutely. So let's continue on this video. Not to pause it every time something happens. There's not a lot of things that happen in this video, but the reveal is good, so we want to give them credit for it.
We give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
Look at that crowd. Look at that smile. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Other than thinking about the story implications, I love the big reception there for Robert Downey Jr. He put in the work. He put in a lot of effort into building his character within the MCU, which is Iron Man. I will point out they did say Victor Von Doom here. They did not say Tony Stark. Vash, give me your initial reactions here, because I can see the good and the bad of bringing back Tony Stark to play either a different character or probably a variant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little torn on this, because I on the one hand I do sympathize with the idea. I believe Lou from Lou Wasserman's Ghost was actually talking about this when we were hosting Hollywood Backlight with Lou and you. He was talking about how, hey, look, this guy just won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress as part of Oppenheimer, and this is the gig that he either does take or can take, and how that's a little bit unfortunate. I can kind of, agree with that sentiment at least a little bit, right? But look, Robert Downey Jr. is kind of synonymous with this franchise and with the MCU. He obviously helped kick it off, helped launch it with the original Iron Man back in 2008. So it kind of feels like he's coming home. And look, the MCU, they needed an injection of life here. I think this was also Bob Chapek's plan to kind of reincorporate some of these characters who were kind of going away, because even he understood, look, listen, this is how you get people back in theaters, back excited for this franchise. Now, taking on a different persona, that being Doctor Doom, I think is that's a real pivot, it could be a risk, quite frankly, to incorporate him in this way. And there's been a lot of discussion online talking about this specific issue.
Yeah, I agree. And this is something where is he supposed to be playing Tony Stark? Is he going to be playing a Tony Stark that was born in Latveria or adopted in Latveria, perhaps after the Winter Soldier murdered his parents or something like that? I'm just joking. He was already 19 and well on his way at that point. Or is this supposed to be like a Red Son situation where, he's instead raised with European, generically Latverian values as opposed to American values? Whatever you want to read onto that, you can. Or is this supposed to be that he is the Victor Von Doom, the Prince of Latveria, and he is doing that suit of armor around the world, but now it's a Doctor Doom magic and technology and not just technology version of that? Which, by the way, I'm going to point out that if Doctor Doom is a master of technology and magic, a fight between Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, that's Tony Stark, that would be fascinating to see, or at least a moment that could be pretty cool. Whereas this, I don't know. I don't know what this is, to have the Avengers versus Iron Man. You kind of had hints of that in Civil War. Civil War was a bit rushed. I'm going to point that out also. Yeah. Civil War was not a perfect film, but there's one more clip from this person, and then Vash, you had a bit of news for something that I personally was waiting for after we heard about the Russo brothers, after we had confirmation that RDJ was coming back, and now it's been announced.
Here we go.
Same task, and the task for all of us, including everybody in this room together, is for us to help create the greatest possible experience that we can all have together in a movie theater. So let's get to it. Bring your imagination, your love, and your passion, and we will see you in 2 years with Doomsday.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Great work. Thank you. Thank you, as always. Hall H, yes.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to say that's good sentiments right there. It's good to hear not a single word about, oh, we're going to be the first film to do this such and such real world thing, or, try to push that this is some kind of superhero, some kind of agenda, or to say that this is a girl power movie. They just said they want the movie to be entertaining in a theater, which some of that's been missing as of late. I went to go see the Marvels and I left mostly confused as to why they released the Marvels in the state that it was in. There's been MCU films since then, obviously Deadpool, which I'm probably not going to go see. Vash, you went to go see that, but I think Deadpool would have happened regardless of all of this because of Chapek's decisions. I think you had a bit of good news to add in here, and it was something that I personally was waiting for, and we got half the good news. Vash, go ahead.
Absolutely. So this comes from MCU Direct and also Collider. We'll get to that in a moment. But official Stephen Feely will write both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. McFeely's credits include The First Avenger, The Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. This is a big, massive moment here to have somebody connected with such high-profile films, mainly Russo brothers films as part of the MCU, to come back in this way. Collider has a little bit more to say on this. So coming out of the massive bombshell that was Marvel Studios' San Diego Comic-Con panel, it was announced that Joe and Anthony Russo would be back to direct Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, which, by the way, you didn't need a panel to tell you that, because if you were following that Park Place, you already knew. However, the news didn't stop there, as it was revealed through an official press release from the Russo brothers production company, AGBO, that Stephen McFeely was listed as the writer for both upcoming Avengers films. This means that at least one half of the Russo's MCU writing team is back.
Yep, I love that name, AGBO. Christopher Marcus is the other side of that. Also, Marcus and McFeely are responsible for the only good Marvel television show outside of Netflix, which is Agent Carter. And Agent Carter probably wouldn't compete in the current phase of Marvel television shows as far as production value. But it had Haley Atwell, who big fan there, and also it had good characters, and it had its moments there in a way that I think that was pre-Disney Plus, the only Marvel television show that I'm willing to say it's actually connected in any significant way. Not in this like pretending that it's all connected kind of way. They actually had the Jarvis from that series appear in Endgame, which of course was also written by Marcus and McFeely. So a lot of the MCU has been shaped by Marcus and McFeely and the Russo brothers, and of course Robert Downey Jr. So Christopher Marcus, I don't know what you're doing right now, but if I heard that you were attached to this film, it would be almost all of the pieces that you need in order to complete that Infinity Gauntlet, as it were. Of course, there were also announcements for Fantastic Four, the preview for the Fantastic Four. I haven't seen it myself, or if I've seen it, it's been through, janky Comic-Con iPhone footage of it, and you can never quite tell whether or not it's actually of quality when you're watching a video of a video in that way. But look good. The reviews look good as well.
Looks like it's going to be kind of like a 60s futuristic type of film. Very, very interesting. Also, too, Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, old hands, and doing interviews together. That was very interesting to see. And also, too, Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts will appear in the future Avengers films as well. Didn't get any confirmation on Deadpool and how he will be incorporated into the MCU going forward. I think that's something to watch also. And one last thing to leave our viewers on. This was a direct quote from Robert Downey Jr. here, I believe, on stage. New mask, same task. What I can tell you, I like playing complicated characters. So if nothing else, the MCU should be very interesting going forward here with the next couple of years, whereas it was a little mid before.
Yeah, and I would say that while Star Wars is served well by having clear good and evil, Marvel is served well by having complicated villains who believe that they are the heroes of their own story. And that's really the thing that you can say about Doctor Doom, is that he is the hero of his own story in a major way. Of course, Galactus is going to be fascinating as well. By the way, the voice actor for Galactus, apparently he is in The Green Knight, and I saw a couple clips of that, and ooh, that's an amazing voice right there. That being said, we want to throw this to our commenters. Do you know of any other amazing voices that are going to be in the MCU? No. What do you think about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU? We're seeing lots of opinions and lots of takes. And how do you think it would work? And what do you think the stumbling points are for them here? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.